I used to think of myself as someone who was okay and open to change and actually enjoyed it. I like cutting my hair. I never felt worried about what a change in my appearance would mean. I like cutting my hair. I like changing my style. I like getting tattoos. It's just, those changes are fun. They're cool. They're a way of expressing how I'm feeling on the inside and bringing that out. I thought that I was okay with change. I thought that I was good with it. But no, I am okay with change that I bring upon myself, that is positive, what I see as positive change. I have been watching a lot of people's disheveled decks videos, and I kind of got a little bit jealous that they had these soft, like well-worn friends. And I was like, oh, I can't wait until I've had these decks that I've used and loved so long that they really start looking like they've been well loved. But I realize as I've started using and loving decks that I kind of have a problem accepting change when it is perceived negatively in my eyes. Like when the change makes something worse, I don't like it. And I think that that's something that is very obvious, that I think many people feel, and it's something that I should have just realized, but it's something that I didn't think about until earlier this week. So earlier this week I was shuffling my cards, this deck I've been using since March, and I was shuffling them, playing around with them, and I was like, oh, like, it's kind of looking a little bit grubby on the sides. So I was like, oh, this isn't good. So I looked closer, and in the sun, I'm not sure if you can see. I'm gonna try and bring it up closer. There's lots of little, I don't even know, it's probably little dirt or something. Like here you can see it pretty well. And it bothered me. It bothers me so bad because the edges are white and it was here on the back too, on all the sides. So I went through each card and did a little like this. I would like flick off and kind of scrub it with my nail. See, I'm doing it right now. I would just try and get it off. I don't even think you can see. Like, it's not even that big of a deal. But my brain was like, yeah, right there. My brain was like, it's dirty. I can't. So once I had went through and scrubbed off each of these cards, I did what Mary Grace did for her Morgan Greer, her very used, very loved Morgan Greer, and I took some, because this is US Games, so worst case scenario, I ruin my cards and I just have to replace the deck, but it's readily available. This is mass market and still in print. I think the first printing was 2019. So I took some Clorox wipes and I divided my cards up into 3 sections like this. And I took the wipe and I put it on my finger like this and I rubbed and cleaned all the edges. And I cleaned up the edges and I think they look so much better now. But every time I use the deck, I still notice those little spots, and it's something I can't unsee now. And it's just something that has been on my mind this whole time. It's bothering me. I think that the aging tarot deck, my aging tarot deck, has taught me that you have to be okay with changes regardless. There are some changes that are just going to happen that aren't going to be good. They're not going to be pleasant, but they're changes that you have to live with. With the soft, easy to shuffle deck comes the age. It's going to look its age, and it's going to start getting some nicks and little bumps and bruises. I have a couple other decks that are a little bit disheveled too that upset and bothered me too. I will go get them. So these are 2 additional decks that I have that have become disheveled. This is the Anna K Tarot. I made this little bag for it. This is the Indie edition. And this deck is well loved also. And you can see by the chipped edges. And I have tried to edge it. And look, you can see it even worse here. I am not a very gentle shuffler. You can tell which side I prefer. But this is a deck also that I love to use. It's really stiff. So it's hard to shuffle like that, a riffle shuffle. But this deck always reminds me of fall, but I'm getting off track. This is another deck that is showing its age. It's showing its use. And, you know, it bothers me a little bit. And part of me wants to go in and find markers that match the edges and color them in myself so that we get kind of a clean, fresh looking deck. But why put that much energy and effort into making something look perfect when it's not supposed to be perfect? It doesn't have to work and look great all the time. This is supposed to be used and it's supposed to get aged. And these cards are definitely going to last. Like, this is very thick cardstock. I think that these cards, this deck is going to be fine in years and decades to come. So why am I so worried about making it look nice? Why do I care so much about having it be perfect when it's just a change that's happening? It's just changing. We all change. And I'm okay with change when it's myself. Even having like a couple gray hairs pop up and noticing them, I'm like, oh, like I like those. But would I feel the same if it was wrinkles? Are these the deck's gray hairs that make them look silvery and wise? Or are they the wrinkles that make them look their age? I don't know. I don't know. My second deck that is quite disheveled is the Witch's Wisdom Tarot. And I love this deck. I got this deck after seeing 2 cards in a walkthrough of Lisa Pepez because I saw the hedgehog. It went from the minor arcana first to the major arcana, I think, and the second card, which was the 2 of air, has a hedgehog in it. I'll try and find it. And let's see if I can find the card that I ruined. Here. This card is what made me buy this deck without seeing anything else. And I love this deck. I think this deck is very wise for me. It is bowing, and that bothers me more of just as an aspect of like shuffling. But I've never been able to shuffle it like this. And the one time that I shuffled it, riffle shuffled it like this, I wasn't looking, and one of the cards got caught. I wonder if I can find it. I don't even remember which card it is. Oh, here it is. It's so small, you can't even tell. So you won't even be able to see. I bent the card and it split, so this front part split off from the back, and you can even, I don't want to bend it, but you can. It would, you could peel it up almost. It is such a small thing. You can't even see it. And yet, I was like, in my head, I was thinking, should I get a whole new deck to replace this card that I've ruined? First of all, this is the most minor thing in the world, especially because the card, it doesn't look bad. It's not even noticeable if you're flipping through. Like, laid out, the first thing that my eye goes to is not that, it's the moon and the reflection. So why do I get so hung up on these perceived negative changes? Why can't I accept that this is how the deck needs to change, or this is how the deck is changing as our relationship is growing? And I'm not sure. So let's pull some cards and ask. I'm going to pull from my trusty Herbcrafters because this is the deck that made me start thinking about these changes. And let's just see what wisdom I can glean from the deck about this. So let's see. Let's do, why am I uncomfortable with my decks changing? And how can I accept the changes that come with an aging deck? So we'll do 3 for why am I uncomfortable, and 3 for how can I accept these changes. Why am I so uncomfortable with the changes that come with an aging deck? We have the curandera of water, which is the king of water, the hija of air, the page of air, and the four of water. So I think that this is saying that there are some things that I need to work through. So I get kind of emotionally attached to the way things are. I get comfortable with how my deck is and how everything looks, and it being in this pristine. I prefer it when it's new. But look at all of the wisdom that comes with this age. This knowledge and mastery and comfort that comes with aging and gaining that wisdom. And you don't get that with a new deck. You don't get that comfortability and familiarity with a new deck. New decks, while they may be exciting, they don't have that same connection to you or that story that a worn deck has. There are stories that come with an aging deck. You make memories and grow together and make this, you build together. And I think that I am uncomfortable with that whole change. I want things to stay the same, and I want to feel like everything is always as it will be and as it should be. And I think that that's not exactly how it always is. So let's keep these over here. How can I work through this feeling of discomfort maybe that comes with an aging deck? And I think that this, what I spoke about up here, really sums it up, is to change the way that I'm thinking and realize that these decks are becoming so much more for me when they've aged as opposed to when they're brand new. So with this deck, I felt very excited and drawn to it when it was new, but now I come to it for the wisdom that I know that I'll get and for the meanings that I have attached to these cards through working with them. Like this one reminds me of asking ancestors for assistance. Or the Devil is a card that talks about, confronting your shadow and not looking to place blame elsewhere or playing the victim card. The cards and the images have gained so many new meanings that you don't immediately get with a new deck. So the meanings that I've discovered in these cards through working with them are ones that I didn't have at the beginning. So it's realizing that decks are going to change and it's okay. And it's not a negative thing. Change your thinking about how an aging deck is. A grubby deck is different, so cleaning the edges of this one was not a bad idea and is definitely something I will continue to do when it starts looking a little bit filthy. But an aging deck and having little bumps and bruises on these decks only make our connection stronger and makes it more mine and more unique and has it stand out apart from the brand new decks that they started off as. Just like we grow from the wisdom of these decks, they grow and change from our connection with them. So I think that's all I wanted to say. I feel like I am slowly coming to terms with some of the negative changes, negative in air quotes, that I have felt. And hopefully this will help me gain some new wisdom and different insights when it comes to perceived negative changes in life as well as in the tarot. So that's it. Thank you for sitting through this revelation that I've had this week, and I hope that everything's going well for all of you.